been a while since I did one of these, so I figured I would do it. I don't have like an official setup just yet, so figured I would do it in my truck since you guys are familiar with the Ram, and at the same time too, it's I can get a little bit of quiet in here, and I got a little setup here. So let some people join in. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do this and how the signal would come through and all that stuff. So see how she goes since I'm on my cell service here, and we'll go from there. Let's see. Nice pick of it as well. Loving the overall stance. Thanks, man. So he's liking the Dakota for the thumbnail there. Darren says, must be a pretty fun truck to drive, that's for sure. Yeah, the Dakota is so much fun. I as soon as, like, as you guys probably know or seen, like right now in like Texas, the weather is freezing cold. So once it gets back to like normal weather, then I'll probably rip over there and we'll take the Dakota out again while I still try to finalize where we end up. NOK says hello. What's up, NOK? Hey, Boosted. Sounds good. All right, right on. So you guys can hear me good, which is good. There he is. Hello, happy New Year. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I just ended up coming out of the gym right now, so I figured I would try this, see how the signal works. This light might time out, as you guys know. If you guys have one of these trucks, the lights just eventually decide to just time out. So we'll see how she goes. But not like an official setup right now, but it is what it is. At least we can, you guys can hopefully hear me and see me okay. So we'll take it for what it is. Jeff says, are you taking it for a live ride? I'm just in the Eco right now. It's not like anything exciting. So, but I will do that once. A couple things have to happen. I will do that once we get the Dakota and stuff like that, which is probably the one that everybody wants to see. But I got to get better cell phone service plan. Like, not exactly the topic of tonight, but I got to get a better one so that I can actually do more lives and live streaming and stuff like that. So I will say today I went over to Savage. I have to say that slow every time because it's a tongue twister. We went over there. They're in Boca Raton. I thought they were in West Palm Beach for some reason, but as I mentioned in the other video, I ended up going over there, hanging out with Mikey and those guys over there. Super cool dudes. And then tomorrow I'm actually going to be, if anybody's local, come hang out. I'm going to be at West Palm Beach. I think it's called Raceway. I'm going to be there tomorrow. There's an event there from like 4 o'clock till dark. There's like burnouts and drag racing, like a car show, I think roll racing as well, like a 2-step competition. So there's gonna be a bunch of cool stuff going on tomorrow. So that's my game plan, is to head over there. What did you do with the factory motor in the Hellcat? Oh, I'm guessing or assuming you're talking about the 5.9 Magnum that was in there. We ended up selling that, recouping some money on that one, so that we could, you know, put it towards the Hellcat, or sorry, the Hellcat engine. But yeah, that's all sold, the original drivetrain. Diesel says hello. What's up, Diesel? Will says yo from Ontario, Canada. Yeah, I was laughing too. You guys probably seen in the last couple of videos the Ontario plate that was in the video, because down here my sister still has Ontario plates. So if you guys are from Ontario, you probably saw that. Do you ever plan on getting a Dodge 2500, 3500? Yeah, I actually do. So I guess a couple things. The EcoDiesel is doing what it needs to do for now, but I do want to eventually get a 2500 and, you know, go that route. But I'm like, I don't know, like, I know like a lot of these Ecos, you know, don't do so well. So part of me is like, I would like to, you know, maybe sell the Eco while it's still working great and no issues, and not, you know, take my chances with it. And the other part of me is enjoying the fuel economy. Like, this thing gets stupid mileage, you guys. I'm averaging, like, in the city, like 25 miles per gallon, and I'm getting like 600 miles to a tank. And this thing only has like I think it's like the 26 gallon tank. It's not a 32 gallon tank or anything like that. So this thing is doing phenomenal on fuel, and you get to drive around in a full size. And as you guys know, it's a Laramie, so it's fully loaded. But if I switch to a Cummins, then that whole, you know, fuel mileage scenario is going to go out the window. Because right now it's pretty cool. Like, I'm getting car gas mileage in a truck, and I can drive around, you know, pick up parts, go all over without a care. But if I get the Cummins, that's that's the end of that scenario. I don't think you'd get nearly as good of fuel mileage. Maybe if you're like perfectly cruising on the freeway and stuff like that, then yeah, you might be able to get some decent mileage out of the Cummins. But for ripping around town and stuff like that, there's no way stop and go that you can match the Eco. Let's see what you guys are saying. I'm in Alberta, Canada, but from Ontario originally. Nice. Yeah, Alberta's cool too. There's a lot of cool mountains and stuff to go snowmobiling out there. NOK said it is a huge investment. Yeah, I would, if I'm gonna do it, I probably will end up, I might get some, I don't know, we'll see what we get into. Once we get settled into the new spot, like, I'll probably see if I can get into the Copart auctions, and maybe I'll get like a salvage one and we could do like a rebuild on it so that it's not, as you say, it's not gonna be as expensive for us to do. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. So here in Florida, like, since there's no emissions testing or anything, like, everybody is straight piped around here. It's crazy. It's actually kind of funny. Almost, I don't know, if you lived here long enough, you might get annoyed with it, but like everything is just like straight piped over here. It's pretty funny. Cars and Coffee, Charlotte tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. What's up? Charlotte. I'm guessing like Charlotte, North Carolina, but let me know if I'm mistaken on the state. Darren says, I saw the Ontario plate. Also, was that a typo in the post saying about V6 swap? Yeah, I was just kind of, you know, poking fun at the whole situation. Obviously, everybody that follows the channel knows it's a hellcat, but I just decided to have a little bit of fun with the caption. If you got a Cummins, would you delete the def? So, how do I explain this properly or correctly? So, with this YouTube channel, you can't, you got to be like, and especially, I don't even have to explain this part, you almost have to be somewhat politically correct, otherwise it's going to come back to haunt you. So if and a lot of people are doing it, but it's just asking for trouble. So doing stuff like that, especially the diesel stuff, like, you know, you guys have already seen a lot of different channels and companies and stuff get taken down by the EPA. So doing something like that and then posting how to do it on YouTube is like just asking for it just to get, you know, in trouble with the EPA. So I would never do something like that, unfortunately. Not to say that, you know, you guys wouldn't do it or something like that, but for me on YouTube to like publish doing something that's, you know, federally illegal like that is just, it's just asking for trouble. So and even just like the tunes on diesels and stuff like that, like any sort of thing that bypasses the emissions or the tunes on a diesel, all that kind of stuff, it is just red hot right now. So it's not something like I said, there's people have done it, but I know like Diesel Brothers have gotten fines for doing stuff like that. All sorts of different, you know, channels and stuff like that have gotten in trouble for doing that stuff. So not saying there's people that don't do it, but the smarter way would be to not do stuff like that. Not saying you can't do, you know, something off to the side and not publish it, but for me to document it, it would just be not a wise decision on my part to do something like that. Other thing, I just want to, you know, not to get too carried away with that topic, but one other thing I do want to say is, call me crazy, I know the DEF system is, you know, a pain. A lot of guys don't like it. You might get worse mileage and yada yada, but I will say that having all those systems intact on this Eco, it does make it, owning a diesel, a little bit nicer in my opinion, because you don't have to, like, I've had a diesel, like a bunch of diesels in the past, even little TDI Jettas and Golfs and stuff like that, and even when I've been, you know, riding in my friends' Duramaxes and stuff like that, it smells like a tractor, and it actually, like, your clothes can sometimes smell like it. Like if you're parked for a while and idling, and like the cabin just fills up with the smell of diesel. Whereas this, you can be sitting here idling, you can be walking around even the back of the truck with it running, and like you don't smell anything, which is, it's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's nice to be able to go somewhere, you know, take my truck, like I can go out for dinner or something like that, take my truck, if I'm dressed up in, you know, nice clothes and stuff like that, and you don't smell like a tractor going out for dinner. So like I said, a little bit nitpicky, but kind of not, I don't know. So that is one pro or positive to having the DEF system, is you don't have to have that tractor smell all the time. What do we got next here for comments? I'll try to answer as many as I can here. Eco diesel can be nightmares, but yeah, economy is good. Yeah, so yeah, I can't say everything on here, unfortunately, but this eco runs pretty good. So Cisco says, when are you getting the 4th gen Ram to start the Hellcat swap? So I've been like casually looking for the single cab, and I actually found one that was pretty cheap down here in Florida. Some guy was selling a 2011 single cab, which isn't the right year for what we want to do, but it was pretty cheap. I think he was, there's something wrong with it. He said it didn't start or something like that. I think it was a clean title even, but he was selling it for like $5,000. So I was tempted to buy that, but as you guys know, like I have so much stuff in storage at the moment already, and it would just be one extra thing to try to drag all over the country, depending on, where we end up ultimately. But still looking. If I see some smoke and deal and it's exactly what we need, then I'll make accommodations. Even if it's around here locally and it makes sense, I'll buy it, shove it in a storage unit, whatever. But keeping my eye out. That project is still a go, so just don't worry about that. We are still going to get to that project. I'm just having a little bit harder time than I anticipated to find a suitable property, but it's going to get taken care of and handled sooner than later. Trust me, I'm going crazy not being able to get back into a garage and all that stuff, but we will get it sorted out here very soon. What's next? What is gas like these days in Florida? $3.79 a gallon in Arizona. Texas has the cheapest prices because of all the oil. I haven't had to buy gas, so I really, if I'm being 100% honest, I haven't paid a ton of attention to it, but I'm pretty sure gas, like regular gas, is in the high 2s. I know for diesel, it's anywhere from like 320-ish to 350s. But I think it's, yeah, like high 2s for regular. High 2s, maybe low 3s. So it's pretty good. Let me get through these comments here. I see Clay in the comments. I got to get to his comment. He just posted a video of his secret truck, which I already knew about, but I'm excited you guys get to see it too. I think I'm almost there. Let's see. Clay said the Cummins ain't gonna get that kind of mileage, trust me. I know. So, well, Clay already knows too, like as far as talking about tuning and stuff on, on social media or any like that, it's just not a good idea. But I think, I don't even know if I should say it. Clay, I'm gonna read between the lines, but I think Clay's has a little bit of something, and I don't, like Clay's saying, I don't think he can get the eco diesel mileage, but I don't know, eventually it won't matter, honestly. But just right now, where I'm running around looking at properties and driving all over the freaking place, it's definitely nice having this truck. Who knows? Maybe we can keep this truck and I can get the 2500 as well. I'm building a 99 Dakota, right on, 318 Magnum, but building it for off-road. Cool. That'll be a pretty cool project. Nick says, hell yeah, deleted is rad. Scott says North Carolina. All right, so I wasn't off with the Charlotte, North Carolina. I see your post with Clay Milliken about his Hemi Dakota. How's that going with that project? And then we got Matt Stang. He's got a new name. Matt Stang says Think First Productions. Right on. I like that name. Clay says, Darren, go check out the video I posted today, Project Dentley. Yeah, so you'll definitely like the new project, I know that much. And I've been talking to Clay, offline as well about, what his plans are for getting his Dakota back up and running too, baby D. Yeah, so check out Clay. I'm pretty sure in the comments you can probably click on Clay's name there, and it should jump over to his channel. So I think you can click on his name there if you guys haven't subscribed to Clay. Go subscribe to Clay. He's got a ton of, I don't know if he's gonna just keep it all Mopar content, but Clay's pumping out a lot of Mopar content right now. So he's got his dually, his Cummins dually. He's got the Baby D project, and now Dentley, which you guys are going to be introduced to as well. Matthew says, coolest guy on YouTube, but a Hellcat box Chevy. Actually, there's some stuff, I can't talk too much about it, but there's some stuff that will make putting a Hellcat into a Chevy pretty easy pretty soon. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce it just yet, but once that stuff becomes available, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But your idea isn't so crazy. There's somebody doing something like that. Matt Stang says, thanks, brother. Baby D's. Just subbed to Clay. We'll check out some of his videos. Yeah, Clay's been cranking out a lot of content lately, so definitely go check him out. I'm trading my 97 Dakota this Sunday for a 96 Ram 1500 4x4 360 Magnum motor. Oh, okay, nice. So you will have a bigger motor, it sounds like. Right on. Not anymore. YouTube quit letting us do that on live chat. Oh, okay. Well, either way, I'm sure you guys can type in Clay Milliken. There's probably not too many of them out there. And you'll find him, and you'll see his same avatar that you can see in the comments here. Matthew says, can't wait. Me neither, man. Me neither. Baby D's short block is going on a pallet and headed. Yeah, that's the way I was thinking. I think that's your best bet. Like, your block is still good. Your crank is still good. Your rods are probably still good. Really, she just needs a hone and some pistons, and maybe some new bearings. And if you want to throw an oil pump in there, since your oil pump might be a little jammed up with some foreign material, but man, I don't know if you guys saw, Clay, you posted the pictures on Instagram, right, of the carnage. I'm pretty sure he did, or maybe he texted them to me. But man, there was some serious carnage once he took the slugs out of that 5.7 underneath. Like, if you guys watched, me and Clay's video and stuff, I post on my channel, he posts on his. So if you saw either one of our videos, you'll notice like the whole corner of the piston from the top just, looked like maybe 1/8 of an inch or just over 1/8 of an inch knocked off the corner. But when he took the actual piston out, the whole thing was just, he had like piston rings and oil land rings and everything just sitting in his oil pan. So she definitely got hurt, which is surprising, honestly. Like, the way it was running, I know it was down on power, but like, wasn't like billowing smoke tremendously out the tailpipe. It was a little smoky, but nothing too crazy. But for the amount of shrapnel that was sitting in your oil pan, it was pretty wild that it was, running as decent as it was. Let's see. What other questions we got here? Darren says, just subscribe to Clay's channel. I will go check out the live stream. Go check out his content after the live stream. Right on. John says, you should do a build on the older 2nd-gen Rams. Yeah, I could. I'd have to wrap my head around what I would want to do in that scenario, or what I'd want to put in there. A few things. I've said it a few times what I'm thinking. I got a few ideas in queue, but definitely Hellcat Ram 1500 single cab. I really want to do that one. So that's pretty high on my priority list. Another one is I want to do some sort of drift car build. I kind of want to get into that scene. I don't have any experience in doing that, but I think it would be fun. So I don't know, those two, and then we'll see. Part of me, like a lot of my friends and stuff like that, whether it's, Mikey over at Salvage to Savage, which I have to say extremely slow so that I get that phrase out correctly, but like they have a lot of LS stuff, and the LS stuff just seems fun. I know everybody on my channel is mostly Mopar for the for the better part, but the LS stuff just looks fun. I kind of want to just mess with one, because a couple things. It would allow us to go to LS Fest if I had something LS, of course. So if I did some sort of drift build and threw an LS in it, then I could go to LS Fest, and that event would be massive. So that would be fun. But at the same time, it's so cheap to make power and just to go have fun and modify those things. I think it would be cool. I know it's overdone, everybody's done it, but I don't know. I just think it'd be fun to slap something together. Like I saw and down here, one other thing too is being down in Florida and checking out like Facebook Marketplace. Again, because there's no inspections for for emissions or anything down here, and there's no inspections on the vehicles. There's so many wild projects that are on Facebook Marketplace. Like once we get, you know, sorted out and I actually get my computer set up again where I can do the formal live streams, I'll show you guys. Like we'll go on Facebook Marketplace and we can you know, kind of go shopping with you guys on a live stream. But there's like projects, because again there's no, you know, inspections down here, like the craziest projects that people just got into. Like it's almost like a bunch of guys were, you know, in their garage drinking beers and decided to build something and then realized that they didn't know how to complete it. So there's a lot of projects down here that are just bonkers that aren't finished. So we can buy cars that aren't running that somebody just said, I don't, you know, they don't have the time or the money, or they got stuck on the build, and we can pick those projects up for cheap and then continue on them. So case in point, there was like a 90, I guess 94 to 98, I think is the Mustang chassis, SN95 or whatever. There was one of those with a complete LS swap in it. It just needed some wiring, and they were asking like $5,000 or something. So you could probably get it for like $3,500, which I think would be a super fun project. But again, I need to finalize where I'm living before I start buying more junk. But I don't know, I just think that would be cool as hell. Like buy something like that, put an angle kit on it, learn how to drift in that. It would be a Mustang with an LS swap. We could go to LS Fest for under $5,000. Like, I don't know, just one example, but there's a lot of stuff like that. You'll see a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. If you hop on Florida's Facebook Marketplace, there's some pretty wild stuff on there. Arrington Performance rocks at Boosted Motorsports. My friend, you met the Mo Party. You met at the Mo Party event. He has a built 426 small box stroker, Hemi to go in his black. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, with a Whipple, that'll be fast. Wasn't bad for as hurt as it was. That's what I'm saying, man. That thing's a champ. We gotta give it a little bit more credit for Baby D's little 5.7. In 1983, Shelby built a D150 Ram with a 360 V8, and it was supposed to be a production truck, but never did reach production. The Dakota, a few years later, took the Shelby name. Huh, interesting. That's a good little chunk of history, actually. You're gonna stroke Baby D. That sounds so wrong, reading that out loud. All right, I'm gonna stop reading comments out loud. Maybe I should screen them before I just blurt stuff out. I started watching your videos after Boosted Motorsports showed up with you on his channel. Right on, man. I'm glad you guys are finding Clay as well through my channel. That's good stuff. Are you any closer to deciding where you're gonna move to and where you're moving to and where? So tonight I went to go do a second walkthrough on that house. I put in an offer on it, but their heads are, how do you say that properly? They're a little bit over ambitious on the price. So I put in an offer of what I felt the house was worth. It's been sitting on the market for a week, which if you guys, you know, are looking at the housing market these days, like for something to be sitting on the housing market for a week right now, usually it means there's either something wrong with it, it's not a good property, or in most cases just not priced correctly. So I put in my offer. Apparently it's allegedly, which makes no sense because they originally said they had no offers, but there was 2 more offers on the place for a little bit more than what I put in, but they didn't respond to my offer yet. They allegedly didn't respond to 2 other offers that they got, and they're holding steady for, you know, a little bit more. But I actually did get go and get some quotes for steel buildings as well to see, you know, what kind of pricing we're looking at, since I'm not overly excited, I should say, about the size of that unit. I also measured the 2-car garage, and if you guys haven't seen this, go check out the other video where I show that workshop. But the attached 2-car garage, it's only 19 feet wide and 18 feet deep. Not even 18 feet deep. It's short of 18 feet deep. Plus it's got the water heater in the corner and wash machines and all sorts of stuff. So originally I was hoping I could put the SRT10 and the Viper in the 2-car garage and then just put the Dakota in the 30 by 30 shop. But I think to be overspending, in my opinion, or spending a lot of money on that property and not being able to get all my stuff into it, or just barely getting my stuff into it. You guys got to remember, like, immediately we're going to be going and buying another Ram 1500 as soon as we get settled in. So that's pretty much all my spots. I don't even know if I could fit, like I said, the Viper and the SRT10 in the 2-car garage. 18 feet. Actually, I know I can't. 18-foot length. There's no way. So I would have to put the Dakota and the Viper in the 2-car garage, and then I would have to put the SRT10 in the 30x30, so that eats up one spot right there. And then if I go get the Ram 1500, all of a sudden we're pretty much out of space again. So that's what's kind of kicking me right now on that one. I'm still looking. You guys don't think that I'm just sitting around, you know, having a holiday over here. I'm every single day, you know, every 3 hours I'm going and looking for properties, or searching for properties and trying to find something that makes sense. There you go, you can hear another bike ripping past. There's one place that I did find that's of interest. It's like an hour outside of Dallas. The shop is something stupid, like over, I want to say over 6,000 square feet. The house is garbage, but it's pretty cheap. It's like, you know, I don't know. It's a really good price, but I just don't know if I want to live out in the middle of nowhere is my thing again. So, but at the same time, that would be a ton of space for shop, you know, workshop, all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out, but just know that I'm working on it. I'm going to get something. I got to pull the trigger on something within the next, you know, 2 weeks or so. I just, I really want to get this done. So, but like I said, this one, I don't feel like this is the one. Like I said, it's going to be, by the time I move all my stuff in there, we're going to be jammed. So let me get to some of you guys in the comments again. Clay says, think first it's going to become a 392. Heck yeah. Clay, was I right there? I'm not really up and up on my, you know, different swap stuff, but I'm pretty sure you take a 5.7 and you put a 6.1 crank in it and it turns into a 392, right? Like, I've heard that. I should probably fact check that, but let me know if that is the case. I actually when I was at PRI, there was, I can't remember his name, but he was actually an engineer at SRT, and I'm pretty sure that's what he told me, that they take a 5.7, a 6.1 crank, and it becomes a 392. Don't quote me on that, but let me know if that's correct. I'm friends with Buggy Johnson. I worked at Comp Cams. Right on. Clay is one of the fastest men on the planet. That's definitely correct. I would agree with that statement. If I had to move to the US, I would pull the trigger on Wyoming. That's a little too cold for my liking. Like I said, I'm not trying to be a wuss over here, but I'm just sick of the cold. Like, look at Texas right now. It's almost snowing over there. And I'm just not down with that. Even the Texas people are complaining. David says, hey man, I know Holly has the Hemi swap for Dakota. Do you know if they have the swap for 2nd gen Rams? That's a good question, actually. I haven't looked into that, but I would just say go for it. You could just make your own brackets. It's not going to be anything too crazy. You're going to have a lot more room in the 2nd gen Ram. Like, it's definitely possible in that. Clay says, I think first buggy is like my oldest kid. I helped raise him. Great guy. That's awesome. What do you think about the new 10-speed F-150? It's definitely no joke. Like those, like a Coyote motor with a 10-speed behind it, you do some mods to that, and since the whole truck is aluminum, like, you can really get going pretty quick on one of those things. So I don't have any direct experience with it, but from some of the times I've seen, like, they're no joke either, so I wouldn't sleep on one. Clay says that you don't want to live out in the middle of nowhere like me. I don't know. Like, I did that on the last house, and it was just, anytime I wanted to go to car shows, like 2 hours away. Most of my friends didn't want to drive all the way out to where I was, and I don't know. It was just like a whole hot mess out there. But, and just the fact that when there's, like, being in California and they locked the place down and, like, couldn't go to the gym, couldn't go to the restaurants, which apparently they're almost back to that state now. I don't know, maybe it got to me. I'm sure if, like, they didn't have all the lockdown stuff, maybe I would have wrote it out, but with all that stuff, I was just kind of sick of it. Stanks talking to Clay. Well, if you need somewhere free to store your toys, Viper for free, come on by. I know, right? Don't compromise your space is the canvas. Yeah, see, that's what the other thing too is. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, but just thinking out loud, one thing I want to do is, like, I want to, if I have more space, one of my ideas is, and I don't think many people are doing it, there's maybe one company that comes to mind. Now I'm gonna forget their name. Cleveland Performance, where they do a lot of like Mopar stuff, but I wanted to kind of do like an SRT like graveyard type thing. So I was thinking it'd be cool to get on like Copart, buy some stuff, you know, buy some wrecked vehicles or projects and stuff like that, build them on the channel, like rebuild them, but at the same time buy some stuff that's, you know, maybe I just part out, you know, Hellcats, you know, RTs, SRT stuff, all that, buy that. And if I have enough space, I could, you know, just chuck the scrapped chassis. Like, we would get something that's like not fixable per se, and we could sell swaps. I could use some of the parts for our own builds and projects, have kind of a side business where I can, you know, generate revenue on the side by selling a lot of SRT stuff, or, you know, maybe complete running swaps, since I obviously know how to do that, and have a complete Hellcat swap running on the floor, garage floor, like you guys saw. So I would be able to do stuff like that, and if I have the space, then I could do that on the side. It would generate some income for our projects, and at the same time we would have a lot of parts to be able to build some of this stuff. So that's kind of just me thinking out loud. I was considering doing something like that if I have enough space, but if I get into like a 30 by 30, I'm not even gonna have enough space to even consider something like that. So yeah, just like I said, just an idea I had, which I think would be pretty cool. But let's see what you guys are saying. Oh yeah, so yeah, Matt Stang has an F-150. Ask him. If my spider LEDs are throwing a message on my dash, would Alpha OBD help me from keeping that code coming up? Yeah, so I'm like, let me know which bulb I'm not familiar with the Spider brand, but you should be able to turn it off. It's pretty much goes in any position. So whether it's your headlight bulbs, turn signals, license plate bulbs, third brake lights, I don't know what else I'm forgetting, stop lights, reverse lights, you know, low beam, high beam, you can turn all that stuff off. Jesse says, good idea. Live above, work below. Yeah, well, I don't know if you're referring to like a barn dominium thing. I wouldn't do the barn dominium thing personally. I know a lot of guys, you know, single guys maybe are into that thing. I don't think I don't think a female companion would be, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. Maybe some gearhead girl that's got broad shoulders might be down for living in a barn, but I think most females would not want to live in a barn. Who am I to judge though, right? But I don't want to live in the same space as, you know, where you're spraying brake clean and painting and oil and gas and fumes. I don't want to be living under the same roof and breathing the same junk in. It's bad enough that you're spending the day in it. I don't want to be living in it as well. Let's see. Dave says, I can tell you the good areas near Waco. It puts you in the middle between DFW, Austin, and Houston. The car scene is pretty cool with Waco Sunday cruises. Nice. Build a house. Yeah, I mean, so I've seen some comments saying build this, build that. Could I do it? Yeah. But I don't want to veer and be, you know, out of operation for too long. Like, I don't want to be trying to build a house to save money or whatever, and all my projects that we have lined up go astray, and I don't end up or I can't, or I'm unable to produce, you know, car content, which is what this channel is for, you know, because I don't have somewhere to work. So it'd be cool to build a custom house. Even like, I'm even almost being that way with a shop. Like, could I build a custom shop? Yeah. Do I want to delay our projects, you know, 3 to 6 months out, so that I can build a custom shop? I don't necessarily want to do that. Like, I kind of want to get things rolling. It's already been like 2 months since selling the last place and being out of our last garage. So, and if I put an offer in today, it's still gonna take like 30 days to get the property, so you figure it's gonna push us another month out. So even if I found something today, or I get this offer solidified today, it's still gonna be a month before I get the keys, right? So not to say we're not gonna do car content. Like I said, I've been doing, you know, little how-to videos with you guys. I don't know if I'll get to edit it tomorrow, but we went over to Salvage to Savage today, checked out all their builds and projects. So I got to hang out with those guys today, so that was super cool. But I'll be editing that footage for you guys, and then tomorrow I'm going to a car event as well, with Salvage to Savage. And again, I'm going to keep saying that slow so I don't mess it up. But going to hang out with those guys tomorrow at West Palm Beach Raceway. There's a huge event that starts at 4 p.m. tomorrow. If you're local, come out, say hey if you see me. But I'm going to be there tomorrow filming as well. So still a lot of car content, just not necessarily me in the garage wrenching on stuff, but we will get back to that stuff. Let's see. Jay says, I've always wanted to see a Hellcat powered Viper, and you have the ingredients. I do. The only thing is the Viper has such a low hood, and I've already taken measurements, trust me. That was one of the first things I did when I got the Hellcat. But the Hemi, or even the Hellcat I should say, is so tall, like from the top of the blower to the bottom of the oil pan, because it needs quite a bit of oil in that engine. Like the sump sits really low, it wouldn't clear the hood. So unfortunately it wouldn't work. The Viper has a pretty flat oil pan, and I don't think it would be a go. Clay says, I think you're gonna have to find a house you like and build you a metal building like what I did. Yeah, Clay, I'm kind of at that. I think, like, to your point, I would rather do what you're saying than to overspend for a house that has a small shop on it, which is kind of what I'm coming to terms with right now. So like the one right now, I'm not crazy about it, because like I said, I know you guys already know, you guys are car guys, you already know you're gonna get a car or a garage and you're gonna run out of space instantly, right? Like if you guys have ever bought a house or had a house, it's like you get a 2-car garage, maybe you had a 1-car garage, then you got a 2-car garage, you filled it up. I just moved out of a 3-car garage, which initially I thought was massive. You guys saw how tight the last garage was, so it's just, I already know how it's gonna go, and I'm, you know, foreseeing and planning in the future, and I know how it's gonna end up. So we got a $4.99 from C. I'm not sure what your name is, but let's see what C has to say. Have a 13 Ram 1500 two-wheel drive Laramie, 105,000 miles. Been hearing a howling from the rear end when the throttle is applied. When I let off the gas, let me sneeze for a second. There you go. The live me, everybody's probably like, oh no, he's still sick. I'm good. Just sneeze, guys, just sneeze. Let's get back to the comment. When I let off the gas, it stops. Yeah, unfortunately, you're gonna be into rebuilding the rear. I'm not gonna say here and blow smoke that I'm, you know, the differential guy, the expert, but you're gonna end up rebuilding the rear. So I don't know if the gear set would have to be replaced, but you're definitely going to be into some bearings for sure. And even if you don't need bearings, or you don't need one or the other, it just makes sense to replace everything. So unfortunately, I would say if it's whining, you're going to be into, like, there's nothing where I can tell you, oh, just change this one thing and, you know, it's going to be good. Unfortunately, if it's howling, you're going to have to rebuild the whole thing. So let me see, when the rear ends, when the throttle is applied, usually it's when you're coasting, more or less. I don't know. Like I said, sometimes it's one or the other, and I would be lying if I said I'm a differential expert on, you know, which one's which, whether it's under acceleration or coasting and it howls. But you're gonna have to take it to a specialist. I appreciate the $4.99, you know, your donation, but at the same time, yeah, that one's gonna have to go into somebody that deals with that stuff, and try to find somebody honest. I'm sure, like, in your area, you can probably do a bit of research and get a referral to somebody that's, you know, not gonna hose you. Or I mean, hear me out on this one. Find out your gear ratio and see Go on car. Here's a better actually recommendation. If you're handy and stuff like that, or even if you're not, it might be cheaper to do it this way. Go to car-part.com. Put in your vehicle. You're gonna have to find out what your gear ratio is in your truck. And if you don't, you can actually just Google Ram 1500 build sheet, and you'll see this website where you can put in your VIN, and then you can go to the actual official build sheet for your truck and look at what gear ratio you have, sorry. Go to car-part.com, and it'll search all the wrecking yards, you know, across the country, and you can sort it based on your location. And I would look to see how much you can get a used assembly for. I would be willing to bet you could probably get an entire axle, because these trucks have been out for a while and there's a lot of them. You probably get the entire axle cheaper than you could rebuild it. Might be rolling the dice a little bit, but I'm sure you can get a lower mileage one than what you have, and usually they should last for a while, but I would go that route personally. So hopefully that answers your question. C is for Chris. All right, that's I can remember that one. Chad says it's the Rona sneeze. Glad we're on YouTube. I know. Imagine I just painted the whole camera. Imagine there were just like a big blob of goop. All right, I gotta stop. Chris says, I'm gonna say that you have a pinion bearing going out. Well, there you go. Might be your answer. Might be a little bit better. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Clay's probably been around this. Well, he has been. I'm not even gonna say he hasn't, but he's probably been around this stuff more than I have. But I'm personally not like an expert at differentials and when you hear certain line and this and what it is. But either way, I would say it's gonna be cheap. If it's a pinion bearing, it might not be so bad, is it? No, because at the same time you're gonna have to replace the other side as well. So there's two bearings on the actual pinion as well. So I don't know what you could get away with. There's, you know, you have two bearings that crush together. So I don't know if you could get away with just popping the seal and changing the outside one. Chances are you're gonna have to replace both, and at that point you're gonna be into rebuilding. But carrier bearing, like I said, just to top off on that, I would go to car-part.com, put it in your truck, and it might be cheaper just to throw a whole axle in it. Did you check the fluid? Yeah, that's obviously a good thing to check. But if it's already making noise, It's adding fluid is unfortunately not going to make the howling or the noise go away. Once she starts making noise, that's the damage is done. If it was low. Chris, are you moving with the howling? I would assume he's talking about moving, like while the vehicle's moving, for sure. Darren says, do you have the Hellcat where you're at now, or are you driving to Texas to get it to go cruising with? So once the cold front gets out of Texas, and I do want to finalize, you know, the house situation. So once I finalize that, then I'll, you know, if I have like a few weeks to burn, then we'll go back to Texas and we'll mess around in the storage units and stuff like that. Still got the quarter panel to put on the Viper, so we'll mess with that. Go to some events, cruise around in the Dakota. I really want to drive that thing. I miss driving my vehicles. The EcoDiesel's lovely, but it's kind of boring at the same time. So I want to get back to, you know, ripping around and doing some fun stuff. So don't have an exact date on that just yet, but like I said, we'll get the house stuff sorted out first, get that deal going and all that stuff, because I'm going to be having to deal with all those contract stuffs and all that stuff to get that going, inspections, you guys know the deal. So once I get that kind of ironed out and I, you know, have to wait around for 2-3 weeks to finalize stuff, then I'll go back and mess with stuff. Sounds like the pinion bearing Hellcat in a Dakota is gangsta. Thanks, man. Fluid level always good. Thanks to all with feedback. For sure, appreciate it, man. So I'm going to probably wrap this up in just a second. We went for 45 minutes, so I gotta get some food in me for sure. Like I said, I just came out of the gym. I figured I would go live since I didn't have a chance to edit the footage from today. And tomorrow I'm gonna be going to West Palm Beach and seeing what's going on there. They got a big event, so if you happen to be local, come out. Let's see. Have you had any time spent with Tex Truck yet? What does Tex Truck mean? Time to catch up, bro. Have fun in West Palm Beach. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. This dome light might need an LED replacement. I know. If you guys haven't seen, like, the ones over here are stupid bright, but the back one is a factory yellowish one. Oh, have I time? No, I haven't spent any time with a TRX. That's kind of that's a little rich for my blood just yet, but we'll be building our own version of a TRX pretty soon. Did you hear about Stellantis removing the inline 3-liter twin turbo motor from corporate website? This motor was supposed to be replacing the Hemi. I wouldn't be surprised. So as you guys know, like this EV thing is coming hot and heavy here. So they have announced that the Hellcat's platform is going to be short-lived. So that's all going by the wayside. I don't know. It's kind of a bittersweet thing because obviously the Hellcat, you know, I don't know. It definitely shook the whole muscle car era, you know, the modern muscle stuff. But at the same time, too, don't think for 1 minute that what's replacing it isn't going to be just as fast, if not faster. So, like I said, it kind of sucks that, you know, that stuff is going by the wayside, but at the same time, the stuff that's coming is going to be so much faster. Like, love it or hate it, like, look at how fast, like, the new Tesla Plaid is. Like, imagine that you're sitting there, you got a coffee, you know, you're drinking a coffee or you got something in your cup holder. You have zero racing experience, but you can go out and buy this Tesla Plaid and run 9s in the quarter-mile. And you're sitting next to Jimmy in his friggin' Fox body Mustang with a cage with a helmet on and fully strapped in, and he's got a friggin' cage around him and a whole suppression system, like full-on race car, and you're just sitting there with a coffee in like a production car. Like, it's stupid how fast these things are going. And they weren't even like, you know, they're not even trying to make a fast car necessarily, right? Like, there's a luxury sedan, but imagine you take somebody like Dodge and they're actually going to make a performance vehicle out of something like that. Like, the new stuff is going to be stupid fast. Like, love it or hate it, it's going to be pretty insane, the performance aspect. Yeah, it doesn't make all the cool sounds that the old stuff, but I did see Dodge talk about wanting to make EV cool, which is kind of you know, that part of it is a little exciting in my opinion. Like, this is what I think when I think cool EV, and when Dodge says they want to make EV in the future cool, like they want to make like a modern muscle type thing. I think what they're gonna do, like, you guys have for sure, like, you know, like the little RC cars, when you hear those things, like you can hear like the motor, like zzz, and the motor's loud in a little RC car, right? Tesla and, you know, the stuff that's out there, they made their stuff quiet, but I think Dodge is going to make it cool. Like, you're gonna hear the motors in like an SRT version of an EV. I think you're gonna be able to, like, same way like the little RC car like makes that like crazy like cool noise when it takes off. I think that's what Dodge is kind of getting at or hinting at with their EV stuff. I could be completely wrong, but, you know, think about all the stuff that they make. Like, even all the Hellcat stuff comes with like really aggressive sounding exhaust from the factory. You know, you guys hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear that, but some guy's like two-stepping out there. But yeah, like the Hellcat stuff comes with a really aggressive exhaust. You hear the supercharger whine from the factory. So I'm thinking, you know, think RC car type stuff in a full-on real car is what I think they're gonna do with it. You guys got some comments in here too. EV is the way. EV is the way. Our power grid can't handle all this electric BS. Yeah, I heard. I actually saw. I don't know if you guys follow Dirt Cinema. Those guys are cool, the twins. But they actually made a really good comment. He said that, I guess, and I don't follow the news as much as maybe some other people do, but they were saying, I guess, there was some huge traffic jam. I want to say West Virginia or somewhere, but it was like all snow and the whole freeway or whatever was closed and gridlock. He's like, imagine this, you know, in the future, so to speak. This is all EVs. They're stuck in gridlock, like, you know, for hours and hours and hours on end, and, you know, people are at different levels as far as their charge ratings in their car. And he's like, just imagine a scenario where there's some crazy event like this where the freeway's closed and everything's gridlocked, you can't get through. And then you have all these EVs on the freeway. You know, they're running the heat, they're doing all this, and they can't move, so they can't get to a charging station, and they run out of battery on the freeway. And you can't just, you would have to tow every single one of these vehicles. You can't just bring battery or a charge to the vehicle. So he's like, you'll have all these disabled EVs on the freeway, and that itself would create like a roadblock, and you'd have to tow every single one of them out of there to go to you know, to go get charged. And that was kind of a, I never really gave thought to that, but as he definitely is making a point. But if you haven't seen that post, go check out Dirt Cinema on Instagram, and he makes that point, which I definitely agree with. Kai Nichols with the $20. Thank you, sir. Mopar will impress us all. I think they are waiting to come out with the right EV. Mopar and Okar, glad you're better. Glad you're better, John. Keep up the great content, brother. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so thanks for the super chat as well. But yeah, I think you're right. Like I said, you know, I like, you know, V8s and all that stuff and superchargers just as much as the next guy, but I'm just excited for the performance stuff. Like, you get, you know, all these companies are being forced into the EV thing, like it or, you know, like it or hate it, but I think they're gonna, you know, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna be faster than the stuff now. Like, just, I gotta think for a moment, if I'm, you know, if I put myself in the shoes of, you know, the Dodge executives, and they have the Dodge Demon, and then there was those videos of a Tesla, like a stock Tesla, beating their Dodge Demon, which is, you know, supposed to be the fastest car that, you know, production car that was released or whatever. That's got to sting a little bit in, you know, for Dodge. So obviously they're going to come out with something. I don't think Dodge is going to, you know, their SRT division is going to let a stock Tesla beat their, you know, SRT version of an EV. So I think, just if you think about that and, you know, what I'm saying, I think the future is going to be pretty cool. It's unfortunate that the Hellcat stuff isn't going to be around no more, but it looks like we're going to have almost a 10-year run of it. So if you're ever wanting to get your hands on the stuff, there's going to be quite a bit of them out there. One thing too is, I know you guys know, obviously I have an SRT10. I'm kind of changing directions here, but I have Haggerty Insurance, and they sent me a magazine. Maybe I'll make a video, or let me know if you guys want me to make a video on this, but they sent me a magazine on vehicles that are going up in value like crazy. And ironically, in that article, there's only like 10 vehicles on that list, but in the article they had the SRT10 Ram and they had the Dodge Viper, the second gen, like exactly like the two vehicles that we have on this channel. And they were showing how much the values have increased over the past few months, and you know, the direction they're headed. But when you think about it, the SRT10 Ram, if you guys are into that vehicle at all, I would go out and try to get one as soon as you can. You know, obviously you'd have to have the funds available, but I never really gave too much thought about it. Like, think about that. 2004, 2005, 2006. There was only 3 years that they made those single cab Rams with the Viper engine in it. So come 10, 20 years from now, those things are going to be stupid expensive, you guys. Like, that's even a shorter build span than the Ford Lightning that everybody longs for. So, you know, the real Ford, not Lightning, not this fake EV one that they came out with. But it's pretty crazy. Like, if there's only a 3, like, that's more rare than my Viper car, so to speak. Maybe not my version of the car, because mine's the ACR version, but you know, the Viper cars went from 96 to 02. There was a bigger span, but 04 to 06, that's a very short year run. So if you guys are ever thinking about getting one, I would try to get on that train before it goes to the moon. Like, I don't know, Mopar and Dodge and stuff, they were kind of the underdog for a while, but with the success of the Charger and the Challenger, and you know, all the iterations of it, whether it's a Hellcat or a Scat Pack or whatever, like, a lot of people are starting to come towards Dodge. Like, I remember when I was you know, when I was younger or whatever, like, nobody really wanted the Dodge stuff, and now it's a lot of people, like, just because of the Charger and the Challenger's success, that a lot of people are just coming to the brand just because of that stuff. So I remember, like, when I bought my Viper, nobody cared about Vipers. You know, they were you could get them cheap. They were dirt cheap to buy a Viper. Nobody really cared about it. And then I had my Viper, and then the next year the 5th gen ACR came out and started beating all these track records, and then all of a sudden, you know, guys with Porsches and all these exotics and track cars started buying Dodges for, you know, their first time in their life, and the car just kept beating all these records. And then people started trying to look for the older versions of the Viper. And now with all the craziness and the inflation going on right now and chip shortages, the prices of like Vipers and everything is just going to the moon. So I don't know, just something to think about, but I'm just talking out loud here. I'll get to your guys' comments, and I think we will wrap up, but we'll see. Where were we here on the comments? Oh, you guys are commenting like crazy here. I think the last comment I read was Kai's. Let's see. Clay says that put nitro in an ice, it makes pretty good power. Man, that'd be crazy. You should do it, actually. You probably have the knowledge and the how-to do something crazy like that. I have to be able to change it just about anywhere before it would be worth it. Clay, imagine you did that with like a regular car. I know you have like the crazy, you know, dragsters, but imagine you somehow like, imagine you made a video series converting a 5.7 to nitro. I would probably do step by step. If you could do that and build the how-to videos, I want to follow that. I got a 5.7 brand new in a box that would be really good for that project if you ever decided to make a video series on how to do that. John says, and boom, EMP and you're stuck. Yeah, that too. Like, imagine like, you know, police chases. It would be a thing of the past. Like a cop could just disable your car if it's full electric. I mean, we're not far off with all the madness going on. I think the grid can handle it. When you're sleeping, you don't use dryers, washers, lights, etc. You reduce a lot of power. Yeah, so I'm not so much worried about like the power, but it's just transferring. Like a lot of people say, and I don't even want to say this on here, but a lot of people say that, you know, that's better for EV, for the environment. But I swear even Elon Musk has attested to the fact that electric vehicles aren't that much, you know, aren't necessarily better for the environment. You have these batteries which take a lot of resources and a lot of pollution just to make the battery cells themselves. And then once once they're used or old, you got to discard that battery, and that's not good for the environment. And then also the charging stations, like producing power, there's a lot of coal and stuff that's burnt to power stations to be able to fuel these things. So it's all just kind of energy is displaced, or emissions is displaced. Might not be coming out of the tailpipes of cars, but it'll just be coming out of somewhere else to be able to manufacture this stuff and supply the power to it. Darren says EV vehicles with wicked sound systems playing V8 sounds. That'd be cool too. They have already come out with news telling California people to not charge their vehicles if they don't have to. Oh God, doesn't make any sense. They also banned gas-powered lawnmowers and generators and weed whackers too. They're just out of their minds over there. Not a fan of EVs, but then there will be power sharing between cars like our phones. Yeah, might be. I'm a firm believer in what's left of the dinosaurs' inners. God bless the internal combustion engine. True. The thing is, the plot can go like 2 passes and almost dead and has to be charged up. Yeah, I haven't looked into that part, but I believe what you're saying. I'm sure you looked into it. Get the new Z06. A lot of Zs. I think there's a new 350Z as well, or 370 or 390 or whatever they're calling it these days. I'm guessing you mean Z06. 60% of the electrical power in the U.S. comes from coal. Oh, there you go. You're kind of talking about my point there. And natural gas power plants. So yeah, they're producing emissions anyways to produce the electricity. So it's kind of just displacing the pollution. Legacy automakers are partnering up with EV companies, or they will be left behind, just like the banks today adopting crypto. Yeah, the crypto thing is kind of crazy too. Soon we'll have electric jets. Imagine that. They don't charge the jet. It just falls out of the sky. Clay says, I miss my Viper truck. Clay, get one. Come on. That would be cool. Clay, I can see a a Viper single cab truck in your future with a nice Whipple on it or something. You got the resources to make that thing crazy. I say do it. I miss my Bricklin. I miss my Pinto. Viper for me replaced the Countach poster on my wall in '92. You have my dream garage. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's crazy the way the prices have been going. I definitely didn't pay near the price that a Viper goes for today, which I'm glad that I got in early. Almost like anything, almost like crypto or a lot of different investments. Thoughts on the GT350? I think it's a cool car. I don't know a ton about it. I do know that it's a hand-built engine. I do know that it revs to the moon. And I think it would be a pretty good track car. I know it's a good track car, actually. It might not make the most power in the world. Like, it's not like, it doesn't come supercharged or anything like that, but having that flat plain crank and revving to the moon, I think it'd be a fun car. You ever get a chance to check out Callaway Corvette? I have not. I know I've seen their C7 version where they kind of made that like hatchback Hearst looking thing, but I don't know a ton about them either. Best budget all-terrain tire for 1500 daily, the Goodyear Wrangler early tread. I always stick with Toyo. I would say Toyo Open Country. Those are really good tires. Me and my old man, even way back in the day, had a ton of good success with those tires. So and they also make the Toyo Open Country RT. So if you, I think it's called RT, if you like the big, you know, aggressive looking lug, but you want a comfortable ride and good traction, you don't want like a mud tire, but something that kind of looks aggressive, check out the Toyo Open Country RT. They're pricey, but you get your money's worth out of those things, honestly. You get a ton of mileage. They're comfortable tires. Like if you cheap out on tires, like if you go with like a Falcon tire, and hopefully I don't have my foot in my mouth saying Falcon, but I've always seen a ton of Falcon tires, like the belts ends up letting go and you end up with this tire whacking the road. So, but Toyo's always been really good. You can ride those things to the cords and the belts don't let go on them, in my experience at least. Let's see. Who else we got here? Henry just got here. What's up, Henry? How's the search going? It's going, man. I went and looked, I mentioned earlier, went and did a second walkthrough on that house just to see, but I'm still kind of, they want more money than what I offered them for it, and the more I look at it, the more I look at just how quickly we'll run out of space there as well. We got super chat here. Let's see. I think we have super chat. Oh, there it is. Jay, $4.99. Keep up the great content. Appreciate the super chat, Jay. Thank you, sir. Batteries can be recycled into other products. Plus charging will be mostly replaced by battery swapping stations technology. Yeah, it just seems like a pain in the butt, doesn't it? I wish you could just like pull up, you know, 2-3 minutes, same way you fill up fuel, and all of a sudden the thing's charged. That would make the most sense. Eventually they'll get there, right? But I think right now having an EV would be a bit of a nuisance, at least for my lifestyle. Like imagine driving across the country or trying to pull an all-nighter driving somewhere. Like when I went to go drive over to hang out with Clay, like there'd just be no way doing EV. What am I gonna do? Like sleep in my car for 6 hours while the stupid thing charges and then keep going? I like being able to fill up in like under 5 minutes and get back on the road. Like that's how it should be with EVs, but I think they'll get there eventually, but it's not there yet, obviously. New to the channel, like what I'm seeing. I promise that's not my stomach, that is a Jake break. Like what I'm seeing, keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the channel. Check out the videos. We got a ton of videos on this channel, so that's not me, I swear. That's the Jake break. But yeah, a ton of videos on this channel. If you're just stopping by, we've cranked out a ton of content, so definitely a lot to keep you busy if you want to check out our stuff. Clay says, okay, folks, have a great night. Thanks for another great live, John. Thanks, Clay. Yeah, we'll try to, and Clay, if you're still in here, we'll try to figure out how to, like I said, once I get back and get set up and actually have my computer again, we'll have you on for a live stream one day. It'll be kind of fun to get you on live here and do a kind of a cross thing here. I think there's a way to do it on my computer where I can have you live on my live stream, and I'll figure that out once I get sorted out. But thanks for stopping in, man. I'll talk to you offline again. What do you think of the new Nissan Z? Oh, that's the Z you were talking about. Get one for the content and then stash it in your new shop. It'll only go up in value. I don't know. I think it's going to be no different than, unfortunately, I'm not trying to knock on them, but I think it's going to be the same as like the 350 or 370Z. It's not necessarily going to go up in Z go up in value anytime soon. Like I said, not trying to knock on the brand or the car. It's just there's going to be a ton of them, right? They're going to crank out a million of those things. So, yeah, and for whatever reason, you know, I do enjoy the JDM stuff, but it's never really done well on our channel. It always seems to be the Mopar stuff that hits on our channel. So, as you guys know, we had the S2000 on the channel and a bunch of content with that, and it really didn't do much for the channel and didn't seem to get a lot of love. So, we just been sticking with what works. But I grew up with Hondas and imports, so that was kind of my, you know, upbringing. But it just didn't translate well on this channel for whatever reason. Darren says, hope luck will be on your side soon for a place you're looking for, John. Thanks for doing the live stream tonight. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Falcon sucks. They are made by Goodyear. I didn't know they were made by Goodyear, but I do know that they like, usually for whatever reason, the belts end up letting go in Falcons way before the tread life ends up expiring. That rear cab light in your background needs an LED bulb. Do you know that's the factory LED? That's the color of the factory LED. This over top of here is the ridiculous LED upgrade that we put in it. But why not have every wheel on an electric vehicle have a charging system to be like an alternator? Well, it's kind of like you have to, like, it's just all energy, right? So if you're pushing it and you're driving it, it's not going to necessarily charge it, right? So it's almost like it does actually, if you guys don't know, the EVs actually regenerate power. Like, they kind of, like, how should I say it? The motor, like when you're braking and you hit the brake pedal, it actually regenerates. So it actually uses the motors to push power back into the battery pack. So it does actually do that in a way, but it requires energy to keep the vehicle in motion. So putting something that's dragging on it, so to speak, like, you know, like you're saying, like an alternator to generate it back, it would end up still depleting. So what they do is, if you're braking, it says, okay, he's braking, let's turn the motors on and send the battery power, or send the power back to the battery. So it actually does do that. Demon says, like what you did with the Dakota. I've been watching what you've been doing with the 1500. Thanks, man. Yeah, we got a lot of crazy stuff on the go too. So if you haven't seen all that, we got a ton of engine swaps that we're have in queue. I'm trying to find a bigger space and a bigger shop, and it's just turning into a little bit more work than I anticipated, but it's all part of the fun, right? So soon enough, though. Great chat tonight for sure. Thanks for the interaction and topics. Lots of fun. Thank you, sir. No such thing as perpetual motion. Yep, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Matt Stang says, good luck with the search. Hope you'll find something soon and you will be able to start wrenching on something. I know, man. Trust me, I want to get back to this whole thing. So, and I've been looking, like I said, you know, at least once in this podcast, I've been looking multiple times a day on the listings, see if anything new popped up, and, you know, if it is of interest, I've been jumping on it. There's another house that's not in the ideal location. It's actually on the west coast of Florida, but it's got a 30 by 40 shop, and it's got a house as well, but the price is like $200,000 less than the one that I showed you. And so the shop is a little bit bigger, you know, 30 by 40 versus 30 by 30. So I can actually park 4 deep, so you can fit them tandem, like, you know, front to back on both sides. So that would be a little bit better. I might go check that one out. I haven't looked at it in person, but maybe I'll run over there this week or weekend and go check it out and see if it's a potential suitor. But thanks for joining in. If you guys liked this live, give it a thumbs up. Kind of just helps me out, supports me on YouTube so that other people can see our channel. And I will be uploading videos this weekend as well. We got a ton of cool stuff. Going to West Palm Beach tomorrow. I got the video from Salvage to Savage coming out as well. So lots of stuff, car content. Even though it's not my own, I will continue to deliver it. So thanks, guys. I'll see you guys on the weekends or on the next one. Hope you have a good weekend. You can tell because I am hungry. I need to go get some food and I am not making any sense. So thanks, guys. I'll see you on the next one.